Welcome to another drawing session of The Raven. I'm your host, Ray. If you're new here, I'm working on The Raven. It is a Noir-style suspense thriller one-shot comic. I'm documenting the process as I go, sharing my thoughts, techniques, and whatever else pops into my crazy head as I draw. Let me set my timer and let's get into it. Okay, last time I had finished this. Well, this isn't the page that I finished. The guy comes into the room, and then it's going to snap and kind of jump to an entirely different set of characters, and specifically one character. It's going to be this. I had envisioned a woman. I don't know, maybe in her, 20s, 30s. I have no idea how old she is. I didn't really plan all that out. Just kind of winging it. The point of it is that the serial killer does not care who he kills. He just does it for the thrill. So, show the character in a relaxed everyday activity. You're washing dishes. Okay. So I was going to have her, I was going to do maybe like a 3/4 view. Oops. I'm also trying something different with the screen capture clip studio. I'm trying to see if maybe it'll work for what I'd like it to do. I'm just trying to use it as I'm going to try to make shorts out of this long video that I'm making. I'm going to try to make shorts out of it using it's called time-lapse in Clip Studio Paint. That's what I'm trying to say. So every time you make a stroke on a page or whatever, it records it for you. So we'll see how that works out. So this is supposed to be a chica. A little heavy with the positioning of that. So let's go with her eyes right around there. Give her like a little upturned nose. Actually, let me go ahead and do her ear real quick. Just a quick little thingamajigger for her ear. I just like to do that because it starts to cut in where I think, the bridge of her nose is here. And of course her eyebrow line is supposed to be, it's roughly where your eyebrows are at the top of the ear. So that's the idea of having the guideline there. And I don't know, maybe her eyes will make her, I'm not sure how I want to do her eyes. Oh, this brush is really big right now. So again, this is just a guideline. Whenever you come around to setting up like where her cheekbones might be, you might cut it in like that. And from this angle, this is a little bit too extreme. And her nose is a little high. Let's just pull that down. Maybe have her looking down what she's doing. Her nose is a little far over. Actually, I'll just go ahead and draw her nose again. A little triangle type thing. Just going to have her looking kind of just chilling. Yeah, her eyes a little big. Let's start that up again. So her facial features here are a little small based on the guideline I have. The nose basically comes down to the bottom of the ear when it wraps around the side. These are all just guidelines anyway, but that's how I do it. That's how I remind myself to do it. And so her chin's a little, no, that's too small. Something like that should work. Something around there. And then just a little round off her chin a little. Chin will be small, cutting in there. And then her eye, her bridge is a little high. Give her those crazy winged eyelashes. Maybe pencil drawn. Yeah, maybe some pencil drawn eyebrows. And she's not really paying any attention to what's going on in the background, which you'll see what's happening in the background in a minute. So from this angle, the way your eye is, it kind of situates right around the cheekbone roughly there. And it kind of comes in a little bit like this. Her eyes is a little too small here. So she's just looking down, kind of listening in the background, not paying much attention to what's actually happening it's the news in the background that's playing. I haven't really decided how to do her hair yet. You know what? We'll just give her like a little spiky thing. That'd be kind of cool. Like almost like a manga. She's going to have like a pixie cut, let's say. And most girls don't have the sideburns like us guys. Most. Her hair may be just a little teased. So that I can cut this guideline off here. Again, I just use that as a rough outline just to give myself a place some spatial idea. And I try not to overthink the people I'm drawing too, because not everybody, they're just not perfect. So I try not to be when I'm drawing. So she can be in her, 30s, 20s, something like that. Whatever age you want her to be. I'm just rough estimating because I wasn't even thinking about it. I just thought about a person standing there doing the dishes. So let's see. And her arms should be a little daintier and her shoulders as well. So her shoulders should be a little shorter. Not as wide, I mean. And I don't know if I want to pronounce the SCM or not. I might just leave it there. And then Let's see, what else do I want to do? This one's going to take a little longer because I wasn't sure how I want to approach this. Maybe her hand, maybe she just has a dish down here. All right, that works. And then maybe something like this. She's just scrubbing the pan maybe, or pan, the plate. So then her hand would be back of her hand here, thumb on this side. So really you would just see maybe it's basically her fingerlings, something like that. You know, your hand comes around that way with the knuckles. Okay, there we go. And just round her hand out and fingers off a little bit. Pinky's going to be shorter, right? It's a little too stubby. I'll round this off a little bit better. And even though your middle finger and index are usually longer, I mean, they are longer, you may not necessarily see it that way. Again, depending on your angle, depending on how her fingers are bent and stuff. But the fatness of her finger matters. So what I'm going to do is pull this guy here and pull this around. Try to separate her fingers more. Yeah, a little bit more of the meat of her fingers should be shown somewhere around in here. I'm trying to think of how her hand would be connected. Let's see. Here. I was just trying to make sure that this looks right to me. Trying to cut her finger at the angle it should be at. And your hand, of course, they're not perfectly rectangular, but I think that's a little better. It's a little bit more organic looking than that. You know, showing like this is a bone here and a bone there. Does that make sense? So her thumb are over here, basically. That more or less works. I just want to get an idea. I mean, if I don't like it, I can come back and change it as always, but I just wanted to make sure I was okay with it. I have one of these short shirts. Little girly shirts with the high sleeves. My wife just laughed at me. She sells clothing. That's why she laughed, I think. So her other hand, I was going to have it with a sponge. Your hand just you kind of just spread your hand out when you're... Oh, I need to stuff in that button. Yeah, you kind of spread your hand out when you're using a... Oh, you know what? I just realized. Let me use a different layer. You kind of... At least this is how I use a sponge, not y'all. But I just... I usually have my hand like kind of wide open, and unless I'm really digging in and scrubbing something. But if you're just rubbing it on the surface, her hand's going to be kind of wide open like this. So then her fingers are going to come out more or less that way. They'll be all spread out like this. Yeah, I think that's right. I just need to clear up this thumb, actually. Then her elbow's roughly there. Let me adjust this, actually, because I feel like her hand's a little extreme that way. Do the little hamburger helper hand, and then draw a little cone this way. And then her bicep is more or less here. Oh, here. No, that doesn't work, because I have her shoulder up here. So her elbow would have to be... That's her forearm. You have the world's smallest forearm. Okay. Let's keep the meat of her hand right. Just where we connect it is what matters. So I'm going to kind of, like the peripheral nervous system, I'm going to meet in the middle. I know none of you have any idea what I'm talking about. That's cool, though. So we're going to do... Maybe you do. What do I know? Okay. All right, we'll get rid of this. Since her arm is going to be in front, there's no point in drawing that. So I'm just going to have... Again, I'm just trying to figure out what I'm doing. I never know what I'm doing. I was winging it. Okay, so this arm, if it's something like her other arm, which I imagine it should be, it would be her elbow here. And so, based on how her hand is, I should rotate her hand around a little bit. Or at least... Yeah, that's the only thing that makes sense to me right now. Let me rotate her hand around. I wasn't thinking about how I positioned her, so her hand would make more sense if it were... Yeah, that is way off. Now that I'm thinking about it, it's going to go way around. Not so much worried about the meat of the hand, but her hand should be down more like that, yeah. So we'll just rotate her arm up instead. Man, I got this a mess right now. So so the meat of her hand, since her thumb is here, should more or less come here. Yeah, that's right. But I don't like the way that's connected. Pull this in a little bit more because she's a little... I want her to be a little smaller. And then on the pinky side, your pinky would be down. Okay. So long as I have the form right, I can start to articulate the rest of it. Cool. Then I can come in here and actually give her fingers some shape. I'm going to go ahead and just merge these together now, because I want to be able to erase this stuff away and not have to keep going back and forth in layers. That way I can see sort of more defined what the hand looks like. I can visualize it a little better. So her hand, yeah, see, this is the kind of stuff that I'm saying. If I didn't do this, I wouldn't see her hand looks like that. So I'm going to take her pinky down. Hang on a second. All right. I'm actually just going to move this. I like the way this looks, I think. Just going to move this over. And then, same thing I've been doing. I want to give it an impression of the fingernails. And so her thumb. I think that's okay. I mean, I don't know. I try to remember to check that the meat of the hand is right, and if it's not, pull that back a little. And maybe right here. You know, because your palm of your hand should be, there should basically be a circle there. It's not perfect, but it'll do the job. It's mostly too because most of the time you might have like the webbing of your hand, so to speak, between your fingers might look a little bit more triangular depending on how she's holding her hand, or it might be a little bit more round. Again, I'm just going with what makes me happy. If I'm okay with it, then cool. I think she works. Then I just gotta have to do a sponge for her and her hand. So we're gonna do like just a square sponge, something like that, and maybe some bubbles. Let's do some bubbles. Some bubbles. Why not, right? Let's have fun with it. Make it a real nice, relaxing scene where she's drawing bubbles. No, she's making bubbles with her soap. All right, and then the bad things are coming, and she don't know it. I'll do my best to render the water proper. Let's see. So she's standing in front of the sink. Let's do one more layer. I guess I'll have the sink more or less like that. Yeah, that works. That's the angle I want. Oops. Yeah. Let's just do that, and maybe just give her like a farm tub sink. Big old fat sink that she's cleaning in. It's actually based on our sink in the kitchen. I think that's cool. Gives you the idea that she's in the sink, right? She's using the sink. So some water here, and then maybe some sudsy bubbles. Oh, it makes it feel like she's actually washing the dishes and not just standing over the... That's pretty cool. And then in the background, I try not to make the backgrounds too overwhelming. Let me just merge these down, because again, I want to be able to erase that background, but also what I was going to say was I don't want the background to overwhelm the foreground unless the background is part of the scene specifically, like there's something going on back there, like the bad guy's back there and he's going to get you. I'm going to eat you. That's cool. And then I can also put a little bit of suds on her hand, I guess. That would make sense. I mean, why would the suds only be on the one side? She can have the suds like... She's making a mess while she's cleaning, right? Gotta get dirty to get it clean. I think that's pretty cool. I don't know. What do I know? I think just go after it. You know, that's one of the things that I feel like holds a lot of people back. Just do it. I mean, the Nike man, just do it. No, seriously, I think just go after whatever it is you want to try to do. If you don't like it, just do it again. Just do it till you're happy. Don't wait. If you wait until, I know a lot of people say this, if you wait until you feel like you can do it, you're not going to ever do it. Just go ahead and just fail as you do it. Yeah? Yeah. Failing is a teaching lesson. It shouldn't be a negative thing. It's more like a not yet kind of thing, you know? It's okay to screw up. I screw up all the time. I mean, this is not a perfect illustration, but I'm happy with it. I mean, I'm happy enough that I would gonna call it a day on this one. You know, if I obsess over it, I'm never gonna get anything done. Her little arm back here. There we go. Okay, so the foreground of her is done, I think. Oh, the only thing is I want to give her her shirt. There we go. So round off her shirt there. So she's not paying any attention to what's going on in the background, right? There's going to be a news. Oh, it's on here. There's going to be a news. Words are hard. The TV in the background has a news report about the Raven with glimpses of headlines or a newscaster discussing recent incidents. So it's going to be in a nearby town because, you know, it's not like he's going to teleport to another city. It doesn't tell you how long it's been. Not yet. There's just going to be just a scene jump or like a setting jump, I guess. And then that way, you already know he's a murderous bastard. So you're going to try to do is establish that this is going to happen to other people as well. It's not just a one-time incident. He's going to jump town. And it's based around a lot of the missing people in this universe. Because there's a lot of unexplained things that happen to people in our world, in our real universe. And unfortunately, a lot of people don't get closure. They don't know what happened. And stuff like this does actually happen. Okay. So that's what it's kind of loosely based on, is that kind of idea where things you don't always get the closure that you'd like to have. So I think I'm going to have, she has a window in front of her sink, and I'm just winging this. It's just how I do. I'm going to, one day, I'm going to draw a straight line. I think I was going to have her like in a small little kitchen like this. Maybe it's, you know, a dining room or something over there. And okay, yeah, that's fine. We can do a maybe her refrigerator is here. And I don't know, just get a side by side. So there's that. Monstrous refrigerator she got. And then maybe she's got counter space right here. Okay, and then maybe some cabinets underneath it. The architects were really good, and they did a great job of laying everything out. So she's got like awesome use of space. I don't know. Okay. I think that works. And then usually, of course, if you want to go through the details, I mean, you're going to have hinges on the doors, usually on the outside like this. I mean, it does matter the kind of details you use. If you go too loose on the details in the background, it kind of hard to establish where you're at. But if you go too detailed, you're just kind of spending time on things I don't think you should. That's just me. Just a delicate balance of the two. Find whatever works for you and just run with it. But I think this works for me. It's enough to set the tone of where she is without taking too long to draw. There we go. Oops. That way, you know, you step back, you look at it. And, whoa. So like I said, stepping back physically is not as easy to do digitally. But kind of zooming out and zooming back in helps. I know it might seem silly that I erased the line for the wall back there, but I wasn't sure where I wanted to place the refrigerator, and now that I know where it is, I don't really need that wall line there. And then maybe we can have her floor, an indication that it's maybe tiled or something. Maybe like, you know, I'm not going to sit here and draw 1,000 of these. It would make it too busy, for one thing. I think the other thing is too, is that your brain can fill in like, okay, the whole tile floor, it looks like this. And when you see patterns, your brain tends to just go, all right, I've seen one, I've seen them all. So that's why when you recognize patterns as patterns rather than individual tiles and stuff, you're not looking at unless you stare at them. When you walk in the room, usually you're not just going to go, oh yeah, I can see the difference between that tile and that tile. What you're really doing is just kind of getting a glimpse of the whole thing. and you kind of fill in the rest. Oops. So I'm just going to do like a couple of these. And I think that's enough for you understand that this is a tile floor. And so I didn't even think about that one being right there. Just can't even see him. See what I'm saying? What's that doing? So if we move one of these, where you can see it, like that. This one. Can't see that one. Come on. Okay, so you can't see that one. I mean, I could do something like, yeah. See, it's like it's not even really worth doing a bunch of these, because then if I try to line it up, I'm gonna have to delete that one. This one, it doesn't make sense to have. Okay, yeah, this guy right here. This guy right here is gonna disappear. Cool. And then erase these down. Erase this guy. I forgot about my bubbles. I don't want to get rid of my bubbles. See, that's enough for me to say that floor is tiled. I mean, do however you want to do it. I think that works. It's sort of like the old school, and I did this before, but it's like drawing bricks like this. Gives you the same effect. It's like you can pretend it's white tile, and then there's those colored tiles if you want. However you want to think of it. No, most people aren't going to care that much about that, so I'm not going to spend that much time doing that. I'd be impressed if... See, I drew these hinges and all this stuff back here. I gotta get rid of it anyway. So... I don't usually draw the backgrounds like that. I usually already have the characters setting there, but it was just really messy looking, so I figured this would be an easier way to do it. Oh, and then I got these lines I gotta get rid of. I think that's pretty good. I mean, this refrigerator isn't exactly straight, this line here. It doesn't have to be perfectly straight, but like, I want it to be somewhat straight. I mean, that was ridiculous. If you want to go through the trouble of setting this up as a dining room or something back here, you're more than welcome. I think what I'm going to do is, I think maybe she'll have her TV back there. So the rest of this room back here should pretty much be dark. And then we're just going to have her, this is the 21st century, so she's going to have a flat wall TV. Not like a bunny ears type thing. So let's just say she's listening to her TV while she's washing the dishes. Let me think about this, actually. Her house is this way, so her wall this way. If vanishing point is this way. Okay. So we can have her, let's have her TV this way. And then just like a silhouette of somebody on the TV, because you're not really going to see it. A news anchor or something. Because what's going on back here is not the important thing. Just what she's hearing is what's important. No, they're just talking about what eyewitnesses or something. Obviously, the TV will glow and all that good stuff, and it'll look much better. I think maybe I will leave them as a silhouette, but like a, something like that. You can't see them very well. And then this, they're going to say the kid never saw what he saw, so we're going to say, I might just for fun, the silhouette of the bird. It's a terrible silhouette of a bird. All right, that works. And, no, it's goofy like that. I don't know why. I'll just leave it like that for now. I'm not sure if I'm going to keep that at the idea, but it's just something to have in the background. I suppose she needs more cabinets back here. I mean, she needs places to put her stuff. So that works. And then do that. A little front door hinge action. Need hinges for the doors to operate, yeah. That's pretty cool. I mean, I'm okay with that. So I was thinking this room is going to be black. And so you'll only see, like, she's got the TV on, but she doesn't have any lights on out there because she's conservative, Wait, why is it? Oh, that's why. Hang on. There we go. Okay. Yeah, I'm okay with that. And the light from the kitchen will kind of bleed into the other room. You know, it's not going to perfectly stay here. We'll just leave this line here for the tile line. And I'll figure this out when I get to this point. Right now, this doesn't really matter as much. This is just to let me know that the light's going to bleed from here and here, sort of fade off. I'll get fancier with it later, but for now. Because the light should actually do something more like, I mean, it'll crisscross too. Like if this light coming this way, you might actually get interference with shadows here. So if you have the light coming this way and the light coming this way, you might get crisscrossing shadows right about there. Just like that's good enough for now. That way I know that's what I'm going for later. It'll help me remember. All right, I'm coming up at the end of this drawing session because I took my sweet time drawing that one. That's cool. This is getting towards the end of this, and there's only a couple of other scenes that I really need to spend a lot of effort on. Like this is going to show the TV in the background, right? So you have the TV back here. Yeah, see what I drew that in the wrong spot anyway. See what I was going to do is have her zoomed up close, so I could literally just, for now, if I just merge this, I will have her zoomed in on this one. So I'm just going to copy this frame over to here. I forgot about that actually. And it's sitting right there looking at me. So much for my notes. All right. So if we pull this over, I'm just got to add a couple more. Yeah, hang on. I don't know if I want to do that. Let's see. Let's turn that on. Okay. Maybe I'll just switch my thought process. Maybe I'll make this bigger. I'll have to change the angle so you can see what's going behind her. So like, yeah, I have to bring it down so you can see her. All right, real quick, just so that I have it for later, I'm going to just make a sketch of that real fast. So that TV back there, where it's going to be where she's standing, maybe it's this way, and then she's facing that way. That's a terrible representation of her, but whatever. You know, maybe she's facing this way, and then when and then the news will be on back here. So you can actually see that that's something to be concerned about. Is this bird in background? Well, not the bird, but the news story. Again, this is just a placeholder for now, just so that I know what I want to do and I come back to it later. More or less, that'll work. And then so her this whole background here, because this is going to be like the wall. This whole thing will just be black, and then she'll be here. Yeah. So what's behind her, it forces you to see what's on the TV. That's what I was going for. Let me just color that out real quick because I'll forget what these are for. I'm like, why do I have it like that? Yeah, that's about it for this drawing session. I think I just wanted to get that established. And she's looking that way. And it'd be cool because it'd be just like this cutout silhouette of this girly looking that way. All right, that's going to wrap up this session. If you're enjoying the process, hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.